I'd not done one of my ghost stories for a while, so I thought I'd go to Spooky Tank. It's not very spooky now, but it was. This is my female guppy tank. And I thought I'd tell you a story. When my daughter was 2.5, we moved out of my apartment at my parents' house. Me, my husband and my daughter, we moved into our own flat. It's a council house, which would be to most Americans welfare housing. It was a bit shoddy when we got it, but we painted it up, wallpapered it and everybody, and it was really, really nice when we finished. And everybody helped out, so we moved in. Now my daughter, she was 2.5, she started talking when she was about 9.5 months. Not huge sentences, but she could put small sentences together, which you would expect more than a 4-year-old would do. And she never shut up, and she still doesn't shut up today. But when we'd been in this apartment a little while, her vocabulary went through the roof. She was talking like she was 8. It was quite amazing, and this was a short period of time. I never really thought a lot of it because she did watch a lot of TV, and at that time she didn't mind looking at books, and we told a lot of stories, and we did everything. So, you know, she spent a lot of time with adults. So I didn't really think a lot of it, except for one evening I heard her talking in her bedroom, and I went there to see what she was doing, thinking she was playing with her dolls or something, to tell her to be quiet, but she was not talking to anybody. And so I kind of thought, well, perhaps she put a doll away or a teddy bear away, whatever. But after she'd done this a few times, I actually asked her, I said, well, who are you talking to? And she said, well, I'm talking to Michael, Mummy, can't you see him? And I said, Michael. I said, well, is Michael a friend or one of your dolls? And she said, no. She said, that's silly. Michael's up on the ceiling, can't you see him? I thought, oh dear, this is a situation. I mean, I had not sensed anything in the house, and quite obviously being 2.5, she didn't really know anything about ghosts or anything like that. So I did get a tiny bit worried, but we were there for about another year, and nothing seemed to much happen. Occasionally I'd hear her talk, and you know, nothing horrible happened in the house. So I really kind of forgot about it, and we got used to having Michael about. Well, one day we'd gone out shopping. We had 2 cats, and we also had gerbils and hamsters, and our gerbils lived above the TV. It was a very big TV, and the cage, it would fit really well on it, lots of space around it. And my daughter was very, very fond of these gerbils. One of them had a leg missing after an accident with the cat, and so she was very fond of him, and she spent a lot of time with them, and she had been spending a lot of time with them. But we'd been out shopping, and we opened the door, and as I opened the door, my daughter screamed and said, no, Michael, don't you dare. And the next thing we know, the gerbil cage goes crashing to the floor. And she screamed, well, why did you do that? And I said, well, who did what? And she said, Michael threw the gerbil cage on the floor. Now, I wasn't going to be putting up with that kind of stuff. So I got really quite angry, And when I got quite angry about it, I did kind of sense something was about. I didn't seem to think it was anything evil, anything like that. It was just a child. And after that incident, I used to hear giggling when my daughter was at school, at play school. And so I did tell my father about it, and my father was going to New Zealand. So he brought back a little tiki god. In New Zealand they have these little statues that they put in their homes. When you have one in a home, it keeps other spirits away. And from that kind of day onwards, I never really had anything in my house, or in that house again. And it seemed to move on. This is quite a long story, and towards the end, when things happen to my neighbour across the road, it does get quite scary. And I must admit, the only time I've ever been scared of any kind of thing living in our house, this was really a scary thing. So I'll probably have to do it in several parts. But after that time that my dad brought this little figurine home, we had quite a peaceful house ourselves. And my daughter still owns it today, so she still has it. We lose it and then we find it again. It just turns up. It's quite amazing. We've travelled around the world and lived, in lots of different houses. We keep losing it, and then it comes about that you open a drawer or open a box and there it is. It's a little green figurine. It has its tongue sticking out, and it's just amazing how many times we've lost it and found it again. So this is kind of like part one of the story. It does get a bit more, I think, spooky later on, but that's just how it started.